live in D.C. as a hotly contested crime bill.
Real concerns about what they're doing with regard to public safety
Gets taken off the table. An alligator attacks a Daytona Beach man.
Something grabbed me on the leg, started shaking violently.
Sitting on the porch of his own home. And South Florida's Supreme Court Justice gets part of South Florida named in her honor.
While I was studying and competing and growing up here in this community, that I gained self-confidence in the face of challenges.
These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Halwa Ezel.
I'm Leanne Abutor. Today is Tuesday, March 7, 2023.
Live from the South Florida Media Network's Biscayne-based studios in North Miami, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
Protests expected today as the legislative session begins in Tallahassee. The network's Achilles Barreto accompanied a group of college students from South Florida who will soon be on their way to the state capitol building. He joins us live now from Tallahassee.
This van right behind me is the one 6 students drove overnight from FIU all the way up to Tallahassee to speak to legislators during the kickoff of the 2023 legislative session. Republican Governor Ron DeSantis has introduced a plethora of bills, but the students want to specifically share the story of how the proposal to remove in-state tuition waiver for Dreamers and other qualified students will affect their education. The bill was introduced in 2014 by then Governor Rick Scott, but DeSantis claims that with rising tuition costs, this is a way to hold the line. We will follow the students throughout their journey through the Capitol, so make sure to tune back in. Live from Tallahassee, I'm Achilles Barreto.
The nation is watching as Washington, D.C.'s council makes an about-face on a closely watched crime bill. Reporter Natalie LaRoche-Pietri from our D.C. Bureau is live with why U.S. senators plan to discuss the bill anyway.
In an unprecedented move, D.C. Council Chairman Phil Mendelson requested to remove the D.C. crime bill from Congress. This after President Biden said that he wouldn't veto Congress's decision to block the bill from becoming law. Mendelson announced the withdrawal Monday in a letter to Vice President Kamala Harris, who is also the Senate President, to prevent the Senate from voting to axe it. However, 3 Senate aides said that the vote will move forward. Democrats are split on the matter. Some are angered by the intervention of D.C.'s self-governance, while others side with Biden and plan to vote against the bill, such as Nevada Democratic Senator Jackie Rosen.
Shouldn't they make their own rules and laws?
This is why D.C. should be a state. And so I advocate for D.C. statehood, but in this case, we have to really beware and be careful and make sure that people are safe in public.
The bill makes significant changes to Washington's crime laws, including reducing mandatory maximum penalties and most mandatory minimum sentences. While Mendelson recognized that the council slacked at explaining why the changes were made, he also said that Republicans are using this as a political opportunity to set up for next year's presidential election. The bill has been used to target Democrats for supporting soft-on-crime policies.
It's quite clear to me that the headwinds that have prevailed in Congress are about the politics of next year's election and not about what's the substance in this criminal code.
D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser had vetoed the bill earlier this year, saying that she disapproved of the council's changes to make punishments for violent crimes less harsh. She is supporting the president's decision and has sent her own recommendations to the council. Reporting from Washington, D.C., I'm Natalie LaRoche-Pietri for the South Florida Media Network.
She's been nominated to the Supreme Court, confirmed, sworn in, and this morning, Miami's Ketanji Brown Jackson can add another honor to her resume. That's because yesterday, Miami-Dade County Commissioners named a street in her honor.
And now for the moment we've all been waiting for, the unveiling of Justice Ketanji Brown Street sign.
A street in Miami-Dade County, Florida is being named after the first black female U.S. Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Jackson made history last year as the first black woman to be sworn into the highest court in the land after being appointed by President Joe Biden. She expressed her gratitude in a touching speech given at the unveiling ceremony held Monday in Cutler Bay.
And now, to have my name so prominently displayed on a street in a community that has given me so much, that is a very special honor.
Jackson was raised in Miami, where she attended Miami Palmetto Senior High School, and accredits the institution with cultivating her love of speech and debate.
I was nurtured by fantastic teachers and coaches right here. My experience confirms what we all know to be true, that people from here as elsewhere really can follow their dreams.
Jackson says she hopes that this street naming serves as a testament to what is possible for people of all backgrounds in this country. The section of Eureka Drive that is now called Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson Street is Southwest 184th Street between Old Cutler Road and Caribbean Boulevard.
This morning, a Southwest Florida community is picking up the pieces of what's left of their neighborhood destroyed by a racing brush fire. Yesterday, officials said the fire moving across Collier County was 90% contained. The Romero family was one of the families who lost their home of 13 years to the flames.
I saw how much this man worked, for me and for the home. And seeing it all gone and knowing where they came from, knowing where he came from. Coming to this country and nothing. It's not easy.
The family has not decided whether or not they will rebuild. They are just thankful no one was injured.
A small plane crash near Palm Beach County Park Airport left 2 men dead. Palm Beach County Sheriff Office announced a single-engine aircraft crashed near Latana Airport. The plane crashed around 9:30 p.m. after departing from Gainesville. It was found in flames on a field 1,000 feet from the airport's runway. 2 men were pronounced dead at the scene, and the crash is still being investigated.
Footage surfaced of a smoke-filled airplane cabin moments before the flight had to make an emergency landing. It was a Southwest Airlines flight on its way from Havana, Cuba on Sunday. Birds collided with the plane's nose and triggered a small fire in the engine. The smoke that filled the cabin prompted oxygen masks to be deployed as well as passengers to evacuate the plane using emergency slides. Passengers were not hurt and they were rebooked on a different flight.
Deja vu for the Heat as they play the same opponent on the same court 2 games in a row.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
Something grabbed me on the leg, started shaking violently.
Daytona Beach man minding his own business on his own porch ends up in a fight with his life against an alligator. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Really use a new tablet. I just don't have the money.
Let me ask you something. Do you have a Pell Grant?
Yes.
You do know you can get a free tablet, right?
Did you say free?
Yeah, free. It's simple. And the application is done in the store.
I could really use a tablet.
Go get one. Another satisfied customer. Stop by Pantotech in the Graham Center at FIU MMC today to speak with one of our associates to get your free tablet.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
6 or 7 feet. I really didn't get a good look at it.
An alligator has to be killed by officials after an attack in Central Florida. A man thinks he got bit by his dog, but is shocked to know it was an alligator instead. Scott Hollingsworth was in his home at Daytona Beach when he heard a noise outside his front porch and decided to take a look, and that is when the intruder decided to attack. Wildlife officials say the 9-foot alligator bit Hollingsworth, leaving a gash on the side of his leg. Neighbors say they have seen alligators in their pond, but never at their front doorstep. Daytona Beach police say that the Florida Fish and Wildlife took the right measure and euthanized the gator. Hollingsworth was taken to the hospital where he had to get surgery on his leg and is expected to make a full recovery. The Heat keeping fans at home at the edge of their seats after keeping their lead against the Atlanta Hawks extremely tight. The Heat ultimately made a comeback as they were down 13 points in just the first quarter. They scaled up the scoreboard throughout the game, and in the fourth quarter, the Heat were able to turn things around and maintain the lead for the win. This win against the Hawks makes the Heat pull off a 2-game sweep, the first since playing the Bucks back in January. The final score was Hawks 128, Miami Heat 139. The Heat will play the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. You're watching SFM Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
and banding together,
we should still make an effort.
We should still make an effort
to get to know each other
on a deeper level. Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
It's time we take a step forward.
Come together
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Leanne Abutarbush.
I'm Hawa Ezel. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.